get us to the scene, but provide us with vital information about what we will find when we arrive. Having this information ahead of time can be the difference between life and death for our public safety teams and the people we serve. Together, we make the difference.
Motorcyclists know the vast Texas landscape and our open roads are prime for riding, but those inviting roads come with responsibilities. The responsibility to oneself, fellow riders, and the community. Ride with caution, slow down, and embrace the journey safely. Nearly half of motorcycle fatalities occur in rural areas, but the majority of deaths happen within urban areas on highways and city streets. On average, one motorcyclist dies in a crash on Texas roads every day. In 2023, nearly 600 riders lost their lives and almost 2,500 were seriously injured in crashes. More than half of fatal motorcycle crashes are the result.
Liberty and justice for all.
We can move on to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda. The consent agenda will be acted upon in one motion and contains items that are routine and typically non-controversial. Items may be removed from this agenda for individual consideration by commissioners or staff.
Commissioners, does anybody want to pull an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, have a motion? Commissioner Lingenfelter. Whoop, hang on. I've got to drive here. All right, try that one more time.
A motion that we approve the consent agenda as recommended by staff.
All right. Commissioner Bronski?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Well, let's vote, please. Motion passes 8-0.
Agenda item number 1. This is a revised west corner of I Avenue and 17th Street. The property is zoned urban residential and located within the Haggard Park Heritage Resource Overlay District. The applicant is John Liu Design, LLC, and this item is for administrative consideration.
Hang on.
I'll leave the mic. There we go. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is John Kim, planner with the Planning Department. The item is recommended for approval, subject to additions and or alterations to the engineering plans as required by the Engineering Department. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Commissioners, any technical questions for the staff? Commissioner Lally?
I just have one question. Does it?
Pull your microphone a little closer to you, if you would. Whoop, you turned it off. There you go.
Okay. So you like the lot in the middle on 17th Street? It has only one access, right?
All right. Have a motion and a second. The motion passes 8-0. Thank you. Item number 2.
Agenda item number 2 is a replat for townhomes at 10th Street, Block A, lots 1 through 8 and 1X, which are 8 single-family residence attached lots and 1 common area lot on 0.9 acre located at the southeast corner of K Avenue and 10th Street. The property is zoned single-family residence attached. The applicant is Metropolitan Interest Corporation, and this item is for administrative consideration.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Donna Sepulvedo, lead planner with the Planning Department. The purpose for this replat is to propose 8 single-family attached lots and 1 common area lot. We did receive 1 response in favor from the property owner, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions, technical questions for staff? Looks like you answered them all. Oh, sorry, Mr. Commissioner Bruno.
To answer questions if there are questions from the commission.
Commission, any Commissioner Tong?
I move that we approve agenda item 2 according to base staff recommendation.
Okay. Commissioner Ali?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve item 2 consistent with the staff recommendations. Everybody please vote. Whoop, hang on. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Brunoff. I thought you were going to second.
Well, no, I just want to make a brief comment that,
All right.
Whether this was proposed before or after, the Silver Line plan came along, this looks like, I think, our first case toward implementing the Silver Line plan. So I think these people have the honor of being first, and I hope there are more like it to follow. That's all.
Couldn't agree more. Any other comments? Nobody? Okay, well, please vote. And that passes 8-0.
Leasing, renting, and is located within the Dallas North Inc. This item is for legislative consideration. Agenda item number 3B is a revised concept plan for the shops at Willow Bend, Block 1, lots 1R, 3, 5, 6R, 1X through 3X, and 13 through 77. This is a regional mall, retail, professional, general administrative office, 8 multifamily units, 907 mid-rise residential units, 50 single-family residence attached units, open space, hotel, and vehicle parking of office, 8 multifamily units.
At this point. Anybody? No? The applicant? And then if there is anybody in the audience that did come for this case, we'll give you the opportunity to speak, although we're not going to officially open the public hearing. So, commissioners, and anybody have any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Bronski.
Mr. Dahlstrom.
Bill Dahlstrom, 2323 Ross Avenue. Yes, sir.
So here we are again, talking about tabling. I've got some concerns whether we can get everything done by the first February meeting date, especially since we've now seen a couple times where we've had to table things. How do you feel about the February 3rd meeting?
Back in December, when we requested postponement, we had some outstanding issues with the city staff. We resolved all those issues. We were ready to go tonight.
On the commission, and I'm wondering if, in order to make February 17th meeting, to make sure that I mean, we
believe that everything else was already covered and ready to go tonight, but for the single family. And again, it's going to be basically taking what's already been done and incorporating into our PD. So I don't think it's going to take very long to do that.
I have concerns. I mean, I've looked at the plan. I've looked at what you've submitted, and I think there are some areas that you might be interested to hear that are of concern. I mean, we don't have to table it tonight for you. I mean, we could do a lot of different things, but I really, there are some things in your plan that I think I'd like to see a little bit adjusted, and I think that maybe hearing feedback from staff as well as the commission might help you to clarify some things.
A new ask for a type of building comes around, the ability to come after the fact to adjust language within the proposed PD.
So after the PD is approved, the only process to amend it is to go through the other zoning change to amend the PD stipulations, if that's what you're asking.
Right, okay. So that would essentially be the driver why they would rather table
so that once we vote on something, it's complete. And since they will have to go through the whole rigmarole. Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Bell, just a question to follow up on that. Do we have another PD with some single-family residential stipulations that's a go-by we can use that we've used in multiple places, or are we creating something out of whole cloth?
Sure, yeah, we do. Preliminary discussions with the applicant have been about that very thing, and
In anticipation of this item and would like to speak, I'll give you, Raleigh.
I move we accept the applicant's proposal to table to the February 3rd Planning and Zoning meeting.
I got Commissioner Lingenfelter next on the board.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. Anybody, any comments, questions? All right. Everybody vote, please. Motion passes 8-0. Thank you, Mr. Dahlstrom. We'll look forward to seeing you back here in a month.
And item 3B.
Item 3B, somebody like to make a motion? Commissioner Bronski?
I move we table item 3B to the February 3rd, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
All right. Commissioner Raleigh?
Second.
Commissioner, lights off. Commissioner Tong, do you have a comment?
Or if they don't meet their deadline, make improvements on that.
We had this conversation actually before this meeting tonight, and no, currently there's not, although we are going to try to put that on a future agenda to discuss in preliminary session, to discuss if we would like to put or discuss putting something in place to address this.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Bell, is that all correct? Okay, thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to postpone item 3B to the February 3rd meeting. Everybody would vote, please. Motion passes 8-0. Item 4A.
Would you like me to read 4A and 4B together?
Yeah, 4A and 4B, I'm sorry. 4A and 4B together.
Okay. Agenda item number 4A is a request to rezone property from corridor commercial to single-family residence attached on 6.6 acres located on the west side of K Avenue. Agenda item number 4A.
Side of K Avenue, just south of Spring Creek Parkway. So the zoning request is for a straight rezone from corridor commercial to single-family attached. The applicant is proposing 49 single-family attached residences with this development. And here is the preliminary site plan attached with this request. So the subject property is located in the Envision Oak Point Small Area Plan. The small area plan is an extension of the comprehensive plan, and due to the extensive outreach and additional details provided by the plan, it is used to guide ahead of the comprehensive plan. And so this is what controls the area. And in the graphic, you'll see the subject property is located in the blue outline along the left side of the graphic. Okay. So in the Envision Oak Point area, this property is identified as a and additionally, it is recommended that in this area, that commercial use areas are improved. Okay. And so with Envision Oak Point, this area is recommended as a potential site for a transit opportunity. There's no confirmed location for any, transit stations. So as the search for that area goes on, the existing uses under the corridor commercial uses are appropriate for development. And within Envision Oak Point, the area is within the sub-area of the western quadrant. This encourages preservation of land for this potential transit station. And so around this subject property, there are some vacant properties as well as some other businesses in the area. One of the goals of the sub-area is to promote additional connections east and west to connect that potential transit area to may be harmful for the residents. There have all, and then on the some of the existing uses around the site. To the east is the public mini warehouse, public storage. To the south is the service contractor. To the north is a religious facility, that landscaping company, as well as the truck leasing and retail. And so one of the things that we want to point out that K Avenue in this area especially serves as kind of a transition area for the corridor commercial and compared to like the residential uses across the property or across the street. And so you can see there is a pretty clearly defined line. And in the graphic, you will see like in the bottom middle portion, that is where the subject property in the light green. So the rezoning of the property to residential may create additional burdens and restrictions on surrounding properties that would not exist if it remained commercial zoning. Commercial properties often must meet additional south, and so there is a requirement for antennas. Is proposing to build all of the residential buildings a minimum 161 foot away from the antenna, and this is in case there's any antenna falling in an emergency. This will kind of help protect residents in the area. Although they are meeting the setback from the residential properties, they are still not meeting the distance from the residential district, and so they would not be conforming anymore. Next, I would like to speak about the access to the property. So the primary entrance is from K Avenue, while the secondary entrance is off Split Trail, and this is determined by traffic being that K Avenue is an arterial street and will have heavier traffic flow than Split Trail. So one of the issues that we had with this site is determining the access. There is no direct access to a median opening on the site along K Avenue. There were some early the street design standard for driveway spacing. And then I also want to speak about the property to the north as well. So if this property remained commercial, it's very common throughout the city that two commercial properties, especially on a median opening, can share an access point. So they would share an access drive along their property lines, and that's typical throughout the city. And so without this access point and with the proposed driveway spacing where it is, the property to the north would also require driveway spacing variances as well from the engineering department. And there are additional challenges for that site due to the location of the creek and just the shorter frontage on that site. And so it would just create additional restrictions and barriers for them. Portions of the subject property are located in the environmental health area. As shown in the graphic, roughly 2 notices or 2 letters within 200 feet and 4 against, and then we also received 3 other letters. Okay. So in summary, the applicant is proposing to rezone the property from corridor commercial to single family attached. The proposal is not consistent with the Envision Oak Point plan recommendation. Property from corridor commercial to single family attached follow along after that. So then there would just be better connection.
But as a mixed-use type development that we have typically around our transit-oriented stations. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then my second question is about the median access. If you can go to that slide for me.
Of course.
Has emergency services looked at this, fire and police, about where there'll be specifically fire and ambulance, from which direction they'd be responding in an emergency? Looked at this, fire and police, about where there'll be specific
Tract that this current ownership does not own.
Railroad develop will be required to provide like items such as screening for this property.
So they will have to bear the burden of the cost to somehow adjust to.
Correct.
Okay. That's for now.
Commissioner Tong.
Okay. That's
The north, the property to the north of this one. My question is regarding our, yeah, that one. Okay, so based on what I heard is because now if we were going to rezone this area into a residential, then the common access between these two properties cannot be used as an access point, and the residential zoned property has to have a access point. How far is there like a limit on how far from the property line to have an access point? Is that what's is that the requirement? So is there any type of residential zoning that in our city code that allows the access point to be shared with the neighboring property?
So I think overall, in the city of Plano, it's not encouraged. There are, a few instances throughout the city where, with special designs and
way further to the south.
Okay, got you.
It may be possible, but they would require a variance from the engineering department. So they would have to review the impact and safety if the proposed driveway was on their property somewhere along that point.
Yeah, if they were both if they both stayed commercial, then that one shared drive could count as access for both towards meeting their 2 points of access, and they could have a shared access via an easement somewhere else, either with the property to the west or somewhere else on this property. If it's residential and if this property is developed with residential as proposed, then this site will no longer have access to the median opening, which I think is the most critical point. They could get a driveway, but it wouldn't have any access to that median opening and require additional unsafe U-turn movements to access and go northbound from that site.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Bronski.
Yeah, thank you for all of the efforts you've put in so far. So I've got a couple questions.
I believe 3 different mitigation solutions for this site. One of them did include, I believe it was MERV 12 filtration for the units. However, as Mr. Kim noted, without a PD, there's no stipulations holding them to any of those recommendations. But MERV 12 filtration was included as a recommendation in the report provided by their consultant.
Is that in addition to some of the other mitigation standards that we typically?
But MERV 12 filtration was
high. Mm-hmm. What's the distance from where this?
I think this will work. So you can kind of see the mobile home trailer park on the west side. So they would just have to cross Split Trail Road, and then there is another railroad that DART owns, and then that would be the distance that they have to connect.
So in order to get to anybody who's of any kind of residential, they've got to go across the road and then over the railroad tracks. And if I remember this correctly, there's not an entrance back there on that back side of the trailer park, is there?
I don't believe so, but.
And if I remember this correctly, there's not. Yeah, that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Residential to be connected to the mobile home park. The burden of access would be on the mobile home park development to create an access point that would actually even allow the crossing over Split Trail. So it's, I don't know. One question I do have, is there any residential use permitted for corridor commercial?
No, there is not.
The mobile home park is zone corridor commercial. Does that predate that zoning? Was that grandfathered in some way?
The mobile home park, I believe, was built before it was incorporated into the city of Plano.
Okay. Can you go back to that beautiful chart that showed the graph, that one?
This one? Okay.
Again, hypothetical, we approve this somehow. They still wouldn't meet uses by the masonry company. And if we enforce the buffers, those residency adjacency buffers that we have, if that is enforced on the applicant, not on the neighbors, how much land is left?
I think I'm a little confused by the question.
Right. It's roughly, I think, a 6-acre site. I think approximately 2 acres would probably be within the buffer zone, at least for the cell tower. that they would need. We did discuss with the applicant doing commercial along the spread shale frontage for that very reason. About, I would roughly guess about 2 acres.
2 acres. Okay.
And one correction to the question about residential uses in the corridor commercial zoning district. Independent living facilities and mid-rise residential 5-story plus multifamily is allowed with approval of a specific use permit. That's the residential allowances.
Thank you.
Mr. Raleigh, any other questions? Okay. Commissioner Brunoff.
Thank you, Mr. With respect to the
Private property,
so it's not something that's for public access, for people to drive across
right.
willy-nilly. Okay, all right.
Just to make sure you're asking, they can't just like drive through the mobile home
Yeah.
park to get to the
That's right.
expressway?
To get
Correct.
to the expressway, exactly. They can't
Yeah,
do
correct.
that. And finally, has the applicant made any effort to work with or obtain agreement from adjacent property owners with respect to relieving the burdens and restrictions regarding setbacks and screenings and bufferings?
The applicant is here tonight, so he may be able to better answer that question.
Are there any agreements that you're aware of?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Lingenfelter.
So I think I've already kind of know the answer to this, but I still want to kind of put it out there for
There-
properties.
Right. Yeah. So the northern property, just to add a little more info, whenever I was kind of measuring out the site, I think along the street front, it's maybe at most 300 feet and just kind of goes a little bit wider through the back of the property. And so with residential adjacency, standards being 150 feet, for a lot of the site, it goes a little bit wider through the back of the property.
Is there any way to even write somebody's buying?
Maintained by the homeowners association and would be part of their CC&Rs when the plat's filed.
So is there a homeowners association plan for this? And I didn't think I saw that in the packet.
I am not aware if those plans exist.
There will be a requirement because they have open space lots. The subdivision ordinance requires formation of a homeowners association, but that'll come at later steps when they get to platting.
So the EHA, or the homeowners association would then be required to maintain the screening walls and maintain the MERV filters and all of those kind of things?
Not necessarily the filters, but the typical design, like the 8-foot masonry walls, for example. If there's landscape burn mitigations, things like that would be maintained by the HOA. Anything within the homes themselves would be maintained by the property owner.
So, again, the regulations as it relates to the particulate matters and things like that, that really puts everything up in the air on that.
So the existing cell tower is the little.
C.
Yes.
Block C. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And I do have another question. I don't know if you do like a research about the capacity of schools. So if because these are 49 residences, and in the household is 2-3 kids maybe in each household. So do you do some research about this household is 2-3 kids maybe in each house?
And so with that formula applied, the setback is 161 feet.
Okay.
So that's how we got to that number.
But it's intended for safety.
Correct.
Okay, so the residential adjacency is not just about residential structures, it's about residential uses.
Yes. So it also is required to be setback from the residential districts as well. So it would still be non-conforming even while meeting the distance from the residential lots.
So under the current proposal, that's an open space lot, which becomes a playground,
Correct.
which puts the playground in the danger zone for the cell tower.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was reading that correctly. All right, Commissioner Bronski.
One more follow-up on that. From looking at the map that you have there, should something catastrophic happen with that tower, it closes Street A. There's only one other entrance into this entire area, correct?
Here, and do they have a presentation?
The applicant has.
Not present as much as answer some questions, because I heard a lot of some new information from me.
If you could give us the name of your firm and your address real
Sure.
quick, just for the record.
Noordine, 6070 Jeremy Trail, Dallas Avenue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking about the tower, so the tower is, the height of the tower is 90 feet. And with the formula Mr. Michael help us doing it, we have to be 161 feet away. So for any hazard to happen and the tower like fail within 161 feet, it's not gonna block street A. The tower is 90 feet height. For the U-turn problem that we have in here, we have created more than maybe 8 different site plans we're trying to present to the city of Plano. We got a lot of feedback. One of the options we presented for them, I'm gonna. One more thing, businesses to be 150 feet away. Here, I'm sorry, jumping between slides, but the sketch here in the bottom left, this is the layout our neighbor north planning to left. This is the layout our neighbor north planning. Really care about the community. I really care about the kids to move out of the city. And recently, 4 schools trying to like close or are going to be closing, and I'm sure you're all aware of that. So Davis Elementary, Foreman Elementary, Carpenter, and Armstrong Middle School. And the reason is because there is not enough affordable single family for pool. And the reason is because there is not enough spread trail, which is also makes sense because the bus station is over there. The width of each station doing all this line is going to prevent if we did our project, I don't think that's going to prevent DART from doing the station. I think it's still doable. And again, following the spacing, what makes more sense, I think, the station to be planned north of us. Also, if the station, DART station, in front of our property, that will make people walk half a mile just to go to the nearest bus station, which is north. I think that's all the kind of responses I have. That will make people walk half a mile just to go to the nearest bus station, which is north. I think that's all the kind of responses I have to or wanted to explain.
It's okay, will you take some questions from the commission?
Yes, please.
Okay, commissioners, questions for the applicant? Commissioner Ali.
You lost me a little bit when you were explaining DART, because I don't think we have a concern necessarily as to where DART builds. My question more than anything is, as an architect, I'm sure when you build or develop a property, you are trying to tie in the property to the surrounding land and make sure there is egress and ingress and what have you. Almost none of that is viable.
Exactly.
One of your access points requires
going straight from the U-turn to their property is recommended. The problem is we didn't want to share our entry with a commercial. That was a problem. That's why we moved it.
Correct, which, again, if you're building a residential development in cohesion with your surrounding uses, sharing access with a commercial property doesn't sound like it's the most viable use.
Correct.
You have access issues connecting to the other piece of residential that is relatively close. You're essentially, it feels like, and maybe I'm not asking a question, more making a comment, your building project essentially absolves you of all of the burden of the use. It's
correct.
Challenging because it's.
On the other hand, what the needs of the city did the city need more of residential or more of the commercial? Which one benefit more to the community?
That's, okay. Okay. Commissioner Bronski.
So first of all, I want to say thank you very much for considering Plano, and I appreciate the time and energy and effort that has gotten you to where you're standing today in this presentation. So I'm sure you've heard a few of my concerns already.
Correct.
The staff says that you realize this is in an EHA zone, okay, and you know what that is, what that represents, and obviously you've done your studies for that. How are we going to be confident that that's maintained, that MERV filtration 12s are in all 49 residents? Is that something your HOA is going to inspect? And the cost of maintaining all of the, A, afford the cost, and B, be able to maintain the regulations that we're not really able to put in place?
So most of the recommendation happen with the sound, by higher fence, by specific materials in the facade facing land west, and this all very doable. It's not something that we can't do.
I understand the sound is doable.
Yes.
That's not my concern.
I'm sorry. And this all very doable. It's not something that we
How familiar are you with being physically on the ground in this parcel?
I visit the site, you mean?
Physically on the ground, walking the parcel in that general area. How many times? How long?
Maybe like 3-4 times.
Okay. So I've lived in Plano, like I said, about 28 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about quality of life, and I realize that I can be on 75 in Spring Creek, and I can smell the landscape company, I wonder what kind of quality of life we're going to be producing for a resident that lives 30 times closer. And you visited the site maybe 3 times. You're probably not even familiar with the odors that can be produced over there then, I guess.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. That's a grave concern I have as well. Not only am I not sure that you can meet the particulate matters and satisfy the EHA study, but we're putting residents in an area that could be practically detrimental to their health, and we're not even sure, other than 75, we don't know what other kinds of particulate matters are being produced for a livable area like that related to the landscape company production, as well as the masonry construction companies. So, you know, it's very concerning to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lingenfelter.
I just wanted to, they've addressed a lot of concerns as well that I had, but I also, you had mentioned you really put a lot of effort into this, and I see that. How much effort did you take into account reaching out to your neighbors and really working with them, such as the driveway? You talk about a shared driveway access to the north. Did you actually approach that neighbor and talk about creating one that they would agree upon, as well as did you talk to the city or anybody and say, oh, you know, I won't let you, I will go ahead and put the screening wall up and do all these things, this masonry screening wall. I won't let you have to take on that burden. What kind of efforts did you take with your neighbors?
That's a great question. So I personally didn't speak with the neighbor, but my client did, and the meeting happened about 3 weeks ago. The problem is the meeting happened after we proposed the shared driveway with the neighbor, and because we've been pushed with the city, we didn't actually work together through the entryway. The concerns that we got from the neighbor was all about the noise might the commercial do to the residential, the lighting issue from the commercial to residential, and this all, we addressed that with the neighbor. For the screening, when we did in the beginning, during all this development work, some of the comments we got, we need to have masonry screening wall, and we were willing to do it, and we had it in our floor plan until we got the staff comment that it's not required, so we had to remove that back. But we're willing to put masonry screening if that needed.
Good. Commissioner Brunoff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In light of the various concerns that have been expressed by the commissioners this evening about this project, I think it's only fair to give you an opportunity to address what I think is the important underlying issue that is before us. And bear in mind, our function is to consider whether this is an appropriate use for this land.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let's convene back, and we'll move to item number 5.
Agenda item number 5 is for consideration of the Silver Line Station Areas Plan, a long-range planning policy for the 12th Street and Shiloh Road station areas. The applicant is the City of Plano, and this item is for legislative consideration.
Here with you tonight. So my name is Jason April. I'm the Senior Mobility Planner with the City of Plano. As you all know, the 26-mile-long Silver Line rail is under construction. DART anticipates the Silver Line to open as early as the end of this year, and that provides service to DFW Airport. The Silver Line Station Areas Plan is a long-range planning policy document for the 12th Street and Shiloh Road station areas. The new rail service presents a unique opportunity for Plano to build on our previous success that we've had with transit-oriented development. Specifically, I'm referring to downtown with the successful redevelopment of downtown with the Red and Orange Line station. The plan was developed through a collaborative process to create goals for future transit-oriented growth. The plan is the culmination of years of research, analysis, and public engagement to create a document that will serve the community and provide the guidance needed for future development, transportation, and open space and character recommendations in the city. Staff appreciates the excellent feedback that we've received from the stakeholders and the general community. The Planning and Zoning Commission last reviewed the plan and called a public hearing for consideration at the November 18th, 2024 meeting. As a small area plan, the Silver Line Station Areas Plan is considered an extension of the comprehensive plan, similar to how Envision Oak Point is an extension of the comprehensive plan. The plan will be used to further refine the community's vision for the 12th Street and Shiloh Road station areas to coincide with the introduction of the Silver Line transit stations and the new rail service. The plan aligns with the comprehensive plan's policy guidance for redevelopment and transit-oriented areas. First, the plan recommendations include an integrated mix of uses close to a transit station in line with the transit-oriented development policy of the comprehensive plan. Second, as an area plan within a half mile of a transit station, the plan specifically fulfills TOD policy action number 2. Third, in line with TOD policy action number 3, the plan was created with a stakeholder group to create a vision that identifies opportunities for further outreach. And finally, the plan serves as a special area plan in line with Land Use Policy Action 6. The plan was created through extensive public and stakeholder input gathered through meetings, surveys, and other engagement methods. A project advisor group was formed in March 2023 and included community members who held a vested interest in the project, such as property and business owners, neighborhood representatives, special interest advocates, and developers. Invitations were mailed to property owners within the study areas for both stations, and additional stakeholders were contacted who had expressed interest in the station areas through previous planning efforts in the city. The first engagement event occurred in April 2023. Since that time, we've collected a lot of community feedback that was gathered through multiple in-person and online engagement activities. Our last public engagement was the public open house in February 2024. The overall purpose of the plan is to advance the comprehensive plan's policy guidance for redevelopment in transit-oriented areas. To achieve this, the plan includes 5 chapters, starting with the introduction. For the introduction, this provides the background data on the station areas such as the existing conditions, economic development potential, the market challenges, and the market opportunities. The chapter also includes transit-oriented best practices and an overview of the public engagement. Building off of that, Chapter 2 plan goals includes the broad land use, transportation, and open space and character goals that were developed through a series of stakeholder visioning exercises that we had in 2023 through public survey responses and assessments of the existing conditions, and the assessments and the analysis that was conducted and is overviewed in the introduction. Chapter 3, this chapter, the plan vision and development types, provides detailed maps and development type guidance for the station areas. Each station area has a corresponding land use vision map, transportation vision map, and open space and character vision map. For the land use sections, The chapter outlines specific development types for each station area, so the specific development types for the 12th Street station area and specific development types for the Shiloh Road station area. And these development types provide nuanced guidance on the land use mix, the scale, and development character, and they respond to the plan goals that are outlined in Chapter 2. Chapter 4, Recommendations and Strategies, provides detailed guidance for the implementation of the plan. This chapter connects the plan goals to achieve strategies for future development and investment. There are recommendations that provide detailed guidance for land use, transportation, and open space and character. And finally, Chapter 5, the implementation actions. These provide a checklist to guide the plan's successful execution. You can think of this chapter as a to-do list of actionable steps. And finally, the summary. The Silver Line Station Areas Plan is a culmination of several years of research, analysis, and public input to create a document that will serve the community in the station areas and provide guidance for future development, transportation, and open space recommendations. The plan will be used primarily to, first, evaluate proposed zoning change and development requests, including updates to the zoning ordinance and alignment with the long-term goals for the station areas. Second, the plan will be used to consider potential services, programs, or future studies to advance the vision and the plan goals specifically in the station areas. And third, the plan will be used to analyze and implement infrastructure upgrades, so CIP projects or public improvements, to support the goals of the plan and to stimulate the type of growth that is desired by the community in the station areas. So staff recommends that this item is approved as submitted, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the Silver Line Station Areas Plan.
Well, first of all, thank you. I didn't realize it had been almost 2 years that we've been working on this. When you said March of 23, it doesn't feel like it's been almost 2 years that we've been working on this. So was honored to work on it with you and former Commissioner Carey. The amount of public input was unbelievable. I mean, we had so many meetings and so much great input and feedback from the community. And the consultants did a very, very good job of incorporating all that, working with y'all to put together a plan that I think addressed all the concerns that were brought out through all that public hearing process. So I'm very pleased with the results and applaud you and the consulting team and the entire staff for putting that together. So thank y'all for your effort. It's a impressive body of work. So with that said, commissioners, questions, Commissioner Brunoff.
No, I wanted to also add my thanks to the staff and the Citizens Committee of which you were a member. Mr. Chairman, also former Commissioner Carey was a member, and the general public who participated and gave their input. This plan represents a lot of work by a lot of people over a long period of time. And I'm grateful that they took the time and the effort and the energy to get everybody on board and allow this plan to be distilled into something that was beneficial and acceptable to everybody involved, and that represented the input of everybody who was involved and participated. I think it's an exciting development for our city to have the Silver Line come on board and to have development oriented towards the Silver Line, grow and benefit the city. So I just want to express my approval for this plan, and I will be enthusiastically voting for it. Also, as a side, I just want to congratulate Mr. Brand on his new position with the city, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Other questions for staff? Mr. Bronski. Mr. Bronski.
Just another comment. Plano's a city of excellence for a reason. And I believe that all of the time, energy, and effort to listen to our citizens, to work together, the staff, you guys have shown an overwhelming positive push in that direction. I believe the Silver Line not only demonstrates our commitment to excellence today, but represents our commitment to excellence for the citizens that will be here as the comp plan projects out to 2050. So I just want to say thank you to you and your staff and all of those that served on this. I think we can all be proud as citizens that this plan is going forward, and I completely support it.
All right, let's open the Miss Alali, Commissioner
I
Alali.
wanted also, it's a tremendous amount of work and effort put in from the staff and everybody else also. But, so I have a question. Is there like an immediate plans to implement like improvement of the streets? Because, you were calling out, to improve a lot of those streets, pedestrians and, and other ones. So is there like an immediate plan to?
So the plan, the implementation actions do not have a timetable. Part of the implementation actions involve evaluating those plans. But I will say that staff has started to evaluate the implementation actions and specifically the projects to think about what are some low-hanging fruit that the city or can move forward. But there's no timeline attached to the projects. But some of the projects can be used strategically to help be a pilot project and kind of help continue the vision. So it all depends on implementation, how the projects are implemented, and how the plan is implemented. But there's not a timeline tied to each implementation action.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any registered speakers on this item?
We do. We have Mr. William Cravens. He's available in Zoom.
Hi, my name is William Pierce Cravens. Thank you for the time. I represent Metropolitan Interest Corporation. We have had a commitment to downtown Plano as a stakeholder and landowner for the better part of about 40 years. And I just wanted to thank staff and everybody for their participation and for this plan. My father and I were part of the advisory committee, and the efforts that staff went to in order to gain support and everybody's opinions was greatly appreciated. Further, a comment I wanted to say was very excited to see, I think it's on page 44 of this plan, specific to 13th Street. Many of those parcels are zoned retail and in their current form are undevelopable. And I was very excited to see that a blanket rezoning was to be considered for the north side of 13th Street to further energize this portion of downtown. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cravens, and I appreciate your service on the committee as well, so appreciate the time you put into it.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any other registered speakers?
We do not.
Okay, I do believe we had somebody in the audience, Mr. Cravens, who did. I assumed that to be the case, but I thought I'd give you the opportunity to correct him if you needed to. All right, how can we close the public hearing? Reserve comments to staff. Commissioner Bronski?
So if you would if you'd like to make the motion, I'd be more than happy to second it, or I could do it for you. But I thought I'd give you the opportunity since you did so much work
I would
on
like to if there's no other comments about it. Any other comments? With that, I would like to make the motion. We approve the plan as presented, the Silverline Station area plan, and recommend it for approval to City Council.
Second.
Any other comments? Seeing none, if everybody could vote. Motion passes 8-0. Once again, thanks to the staff, a great body of work, and look forward to its implementation. Comments of public interest?
comments of public interest. This portion of the meeting is to allow up to 3 minutes per speaker with 30 total minutes on items of interest or concern and not on items that are on the current agenda. The Planning and Zoning Commission may not discuss these items, but may respond with factual or policy information. The Planning and Zoning Commission may choose to place the item on a future agenda. The presiding officer may modify these times as deemed necessary.
Do we have any registered speakers on this item?
We do not.
All right. With that said, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:53 p.m. Thank you very much. Nailed it?
Hey guys, we're here with Ben from Neighborhood Services, Property Standards. All right, what are we doing today? We're up in the attic, if you can't tell. So what are we going to be working on today?
We're